So for today's series, our focus is the low back. What's really interesting is a lot of times pain or tension in the low back is often due to sometimes tension in the hamstrings, but also just a lack of use or engagement of the core muscles, which means with the core muscles, the legs, inner thighs, pelvic floor, even at times using the tailbone, the sit bone muscles, as well as the low belly. So really, the emphasis of using the abdominal muscles is very supportive and healing for the low back. So first, we're going to start laying down. So lie down on your back, have your knees bent, and just start with your hands on your rib cage. First, feel that your low back, that there's that natural curve in your low back. And if you can't find that, you can just start by tilting your pelvis forwards and backwards. And you'll feel that the more you reach your pubic bone and tailbone away from you, the more there's a lengthening in the low back. Also, feel for the natural curve that's in the neck. Over time, we tend to change our posture, so we may jut our head forward or just from tension have our head back. The eyes mirror the neck, so a good gauge here is to take your gaze straight up to the ceiling, and you may feel that natural curve in the back of your neck. Sometimes, especially if you have some tension in your neck, you may want to put a blanket underneath so you've got a little bit of a lift. A pillow could be enough, but you don't want the pillow too high, so just enough for the neck. So starting out, close your eyes with your hands on your rib cage. Immediately bring your attention to your breath. Feel your inhale. Feel your exhale. With your eyes closed, observe the mechanism of your diaphragm. So as you inhale, the diaphragm, that piece of cartilage in your rib cage, moves down towards your stomach and liver, lifting rib cage up. On exhale, the diaphragm draws back upwards towards the heart. Continue to breathe and focus on this movement of your diaphragm. Diaphragm moves down as you inhale. Diaphragm moves up as you exhale. Now you'll also start to feel when you inhale how the diaphragm is connected to the bones of your rib cage and the muscles. So you'll feel that there's a spreading, a widening, and a lengthening of your side ribs, as well as the front of your rib cage and your upper back. So now focus on, with every inhale, how your whole rib cage expands. Upper back, side ribs, chest. Even feel the expansion under your collarbones. What's amazing is that simply by lying down on your back like this, you can already start to decompress and lengthen your whole spine, simply by taking long, deep, conscious breaths. You'll notice that there are certain areas where you don't breathe as much, so really focus your breath there. What does it feel like to breathe right between the shoulder blades? And your hands are on your rib cage to feel the movement of the ribs flaring up and expanding with your inhale. Now, on your exhale, start to make your exhale longer than your inhale. And here, start to exhale out through your mouth. Usually we breathe in and out through the nose. But you'll feel when you breathe out through your mouth And you get your exhale even longer, so you're really playing with the edges of your breath. That you may even feel your pelvic floor and low belly muscles engaging simply by taking long exhales through your mouth. To help with this connection, slide your hands down onto low belly and onto pubic bone. Inhale, lengthen and expand, lengthen and spread ribs wide. On exhale, keep the height in your ribs and just draw pelvic floor and low belly. In and up. Inhale, diaphragm moves down, rib cage widens and lengthens. Exhale, diaphragm moves back upwards. Feel with that exhale as the diaphragm moves up, how the pelvic floor and low belly muscles turn on. So already your core is working simply by mindfully exhaling through your mouth, making your exhale longer, and focusing on that upward movement of the diaphragm towards the heart. Take one more breath. Really get into the edges of your inhale. Take a really long exhale. Feel the wake up of the muscles under pelvic floor, low belly. Now, bring your hands by your sides. Turn your palms facing down. So this is going to seem easy. And it is actually, it's very simple. It's quite profound and amazing the results that it brings. So we're going to make a connection to our low abdominal muscles. Stay with me on this. So as I've already mentioned, we've got a natural curve in the low back. So I want you to just play for a moment. Just start to tilt pubic bone towards your navel on inhale, exhale, move it away from you. So you're really exaggerating the curling and movement of your pelvis. You may notice as well that your pelvic floor muscles also engage with different movements. If for some reason you don't feel your pelvic floor muscles, that's okay. With practice, you'll start to wake up and reconnect to this area of your body. This is one of the most healing things that you can do for your pelvic floor. So as you continue to feel the movement in your pelvis, just noticing the muscles waking up in pelvic floor. This is also very healing for any of the organs, whether it's digestive organs or the reproductive organs that are all around both the pelvis and the low belly area. Which especially, it's a great way to bring some vitality to these areas, because as we age, these areas lose their vitality. So now, first start out with bringing your pubic bone and your tailbone away from you. Put your hands right in the creases of your hips and feel. You might be able to feel as you press in there if the muscles are a little jammed up or tight. And so you can use your fingers to help massage. I know for myself that when I first started doing this, I was really tight in my hips. But by doing this every day, they started to relax more. So the key here is that we don't want to use the hip flexors. We just want to use our low belly muscles. So, focusing on your low belly, and you can put your hands on your hip flexors to feel if these engage. You're going to press your low back on the floor. So you're taking that curve out of your low back by pulling belly down. Do this now. This takes a lot of concentration to really make sure that it's the pelvic floor and the low belly that's working and not hip flexors. So in the beginning, you may find that you're just becoming aware of, oh, I use my hip flexors a lot. That's beautiful awareness. And again, with practice, it will shift. So now that you have your pelvic floor and low belly engaged and your low back pressing on the floor, and for some of you, if you want to take a towel, and I'll show this in the introduction video, if you want to take a towel and slide that underneath your back, that can be supportive as well if you find that you need some extra support. So here's where it gets very exciting. Feel both of your feet on the floor. Now the key here is without moving your pelvis. So you've got ultra stability in your pelvis using low abdominal muscles. Keeping your back on the floor, first lift your right heel up, and then you're gonna lift your toe up to bring your leg up at a 90-degree angle, not letting the pelvis move at all. You notice how much concentration that took me. Now let the foot relax and feel this here. Feel both sides of low back on the floor. Feel pelvic floor and low belly muscles working. Your legs are relaxed, your hip flexors are light. Now without moving your pelvis, keeping your low back on the floor, lift left heel up. Stay focused. It may help to press down on the right side of your back as well. Without letting these move, without letting pelvis move, lift your left leg up. Now, two options. Either stay here with your arms to the sides, or if you want to get a little bit more of a challenge, you can take your arms out, bend the elbows. Now, all you do is breathe. You keep pressing both sides of low back on the floor. If this feels like a lot of a challenge, what you could do is just put your feet on a wall. So you may start to sense the shaking that's happening in my voice. It looks pretty simple. I'm just laying here with my legs up at a 90-degree angle. But in really using the abdominal muscles, pelvic floor and low belly, and without letting hip flexors engage, there is so much work that's happening in the low abdominals. And this will help strengthen and support your low back. A lot of times we get pain in our low back simply because we're overusing it and not remembering to use those muscles in the front of the body to support the back of the body. So take a few more breaths, and if you needed to come down before now, of course you do. You can always come down and come back up. And I will tell you that it's more intense to have the arms by the sides because you're not letting your shoulders and neck get involved. So take one more breath here. And then on exhale, lower. One foot down, and then the other. By the way, this is one of the reasons why we practice on an empty stomach. So as you just stay here for a moment, close your eyes, and you may feel already a decompression or a lengthening in your low back. Just take some breaths into low back, into pelvis. This is one of the best poses for pelvic stability and low back lengthening. So, building on that, now you can either keep your arms by your sides like I have, or bring them down. And again, you can repeat what we just did, or if you feel like amping it up a little bit. First, start by using your low belly muscles to press low back on the floor. Again, make sure you're not using your hip flexors. You can put your hands on your hip flexors to make sure they're not engaging. And if you need that towel there, use it. So, starting with the other leg this time, because it's always good to start with the opposite side. First, lift the heel. Without letting the pelvis move, lift the toes. Now, keeping low back on the floor, and it may be helpful to put the weight on the left side first as you lift the right leg. First, lift the heel up, keep both sides of low back on the floor. And without letting pelvis move, this may take 5 tries to actually get it. Lift the toes up. So you can repeat what we just did, or you can tap your toes. So you inhale and you really let that leg get light, just the toe tip touching, exhale back up. Inhale, right leg down, keep both sides of low back on the floor, exhale up. Inhale, left foot down, keep your gaze straight up to the ceiling because that's better for your neck, exhale up. Inhale, right foot down, toe tap, exhale up. Now again, you can always come down. Maybe you just do 1 round, that's enough. So you always want to build on it, less is more. We're gonna do 1 more, so you can always come out and come back. You'll notice with practice, it does get easier. Inhale, lower the leg down. Exhale, bring it back up. Inhale, and then exhale, lower the feet down. So I definitely felt that one. And actually, with more practice, you also become more conscious of the muscles, the whole alignment in your body. So sometimes things become more intense just because you're working it in a much more subtle and mindful way. That's the joy of practicing every day. So just put your hands on your belly and take a breath all the way in there. And also just notice how your back feels. One great benefit of working the low abdominal muscles as well is that you do improve not just the alignment of your spine, but the alignment of your organs. And you may even find that your digestion improves. It's pretty amazing. So for this next pose, we're going to roll over onto our stomachs. So now we're on our stomachs, and we'll be doing some back bending, which is also very strengthening for the back. Very simple things. The more you use your inner legs, your sit bone muscles, pelvic floor, and low belly, the more you support your back. I'll break that down in the introduction video as well. So take your block or take your books and place them between your ankles and big toes. And if you find in the beginning that this is too much, you don't have to, but it is a nice point of reference. Make sure that your fingers are right at the edge of your mat and you're not coming off your mat. So starting out, this pose is called Sphinx, with your elbows under shoulders. If this is too much for you, you can bring your elbows further away. So on different days, you're gonna feel that you need different support. Now first, as you breathe, draw your tailbone down towards the floor. You're gonna feel your pubic bone reaching towards the floor as well. Squeeze your sit bone muscles together. As you squeeze your sit bone muscles together, you'll feel that your pelvic floor is already, especially as you squeeze your block, already activating. Maybe even draw pelvic floor and belly up. Now shoulders move away from the ears. Spread fingers wide and really use the strength of your arms to help pull your spine forward. So with every breath, draw tailbone down towards the floor. Squeeze your block more. Squeeze sit bones. Feel pelvic floor lifting. Keep pulling your low belly muscles. So those muscles above pubic bone, below belly button. And with every inhale, using your hands, pull rib cage forward away from low back. So you're decompressing your spine. Take one more long inhale. It doesn't look like much, but you can tell by the shaking in my voice, it gets really intense. As you exhale, keep pulling chest forward, shoulders down the back. And on exhale, keep squeezing block, tailbone down, pelvic floor, belly in, inhale. And now when you exhale, don't just come straight down. You want to lengthen down. So keep that squeeze on the block. Keep the tailbone reaching down, sit bones, pelvic floor, belly working. And then using your hands, pull your low back, mid back forward, lowering down vertebra. Your elbows can go out to the side and slowly lower all the way down. Don't lose the squeeze on the block. And then make your hands into a pillow. Turn your head to one side and turn your heels out. And just relax here. This feels really good to rest. And you can either have your head straight on the floor or the pillow. And then put one hand on your low back and just breathe into your hand. Feel the space and the connection and the energy that your breath brings. If you ever have pain in your low back, breathing into low back is excellent. Okay. So we're going to do this one more time, and you have an opportunity, if your body would like this, to up level. So squeeze your block again. Same principles. Legs are working, core is working. Shoulder blades down the back. Squeeze block, tailbone down, pelvic floor, low belly, engaged and lifting. Squeeze sit bones together. This will feel like a lot of work. And then either do what we just did, or as you inhale, as you keep your tailbone reaching down, just lift your elbows a little bit, tailbone down. This is Cobra pose. And start to reach your chest forward, shoulders back. Now take a breath into your heart. As you exhale, keep your tailbone reaching down and slowly lower down. Let's do that one more time. Tailbone down, inhale. Lift yourself up, shoulders down. Keep pelvic floor and belly engaged. Exhale, keep squeezing your block and lower all the way down. Please lower all the way down to the ground. Turn your head to the opposite side. And you can make a pillow with your hands, or just let your head rest straight on the ground. And either let your arms rest by your sides, or place the opposite hand on your low back and take 2 breaths into your hand. Release your hand down. Press yourself back up. And now roll over onto your back for bridge pose. So now that you're on your back, take your block. And if you don't have a block, a book would be a little too much. I would actually suggest using a towel and rolling it up. And again, in the introduction, when we show you alternative props, I'll show you how to do that. So take your block, and you have an option to do it either what I would call the second widest way or the narrowest way. I suggest that you play with both of them on different days to find which is more supportive for you. Place the block between inner thighs. What's really nice about this is that this also will protect your knees. It will, just by engaging different muscles in your legs, it could create more stability for your knees. But the primary function of this is that when you have the block between your inner thighs, you turn on the inner thigh muscles, the adductors. And that also will help you activate pelvic floor, low belly, all great support for the back. So arms by your sides, and you can play sometimes with palms up, sometimes with palms down. Keep your gaze straight up to the ceiling. Find your sit bones, the bones that you sit on, and you're gonna first start by guiding with your sit bones and your tailbone. Inhale into chest. Notice how my chest really lengthened when I inhale. I'll do it again. Inhale into chest. Exhale, reaching with sit bones, feeling already the muscles under your belly button turning on. When you reach sit bones towards your knees, tailbone towards your knees. Slowly lift all the way up. Now you may find that you don't come all the way up. That's fine. Go to where your body can go right now. Now at the very top, inhale. And as you exhale, vertebra by vertebra, keep squeezing your block. Keep reaching sit bones towards your knees, tailbone up towards the ceiling and lower. Upper back, keep curling tailbone. Feel those muscles under your belly button turning on. Mid back, keep curling tailbone. Low back, keep curling, keep squeezing block. And then lower all the way down. We'll do this one more time. If you want to play, turn your block the other way. Forgot to mention this before, you can lift your toes up, and that will also stimulate the muscles in your legs in a different way. Great support for the knees. So, inhale into your heart. Exhale, curling tailbone, feeling sit bones, reaching towards knees, your muscles in your pelvic floor and low belly really working. Keep curling, keep curling, keep curling. Come all the way up. Take a big inhale. And on exhale, keep curling tailbone and feel that lengthening and decompression in your spine, the support of your pelvic floor and low belly as you lengthen all the way down. Sit bones reach towards the knees and come all the way down, letting your pelvis come down last. Take your block, place it to the side. Put a hand on your belly and just breathe right into your hand. As an alternative to this, if that felt like too much or maybe your back feels a little tender today, you can always take your block the lowest way and place it right underneath your tailbone. A thick, firm pillow could work for this as well. Even books if you put some towels over it. So you want some support, but you want it to be soft. And you could just play here, reaching sit bones towards your knees, and feel even the muscles in your pelvic floor and low belly turning on. So this can be enough on the days where you're just a little bit more tired, or maybe your back needs extra support. For Shavasana, you have the option to lay straight down, or you can put your legs up a wall. If putting your legs up the wall is too much, you can place your legs on top of your couch or coffee table and drape your legs over in a 90-degree angle. If you're going to the wall, I'm going to use a post today. Take your mat to your post or wall. And you'll get more of a stretch in your hamstrings and low back the closer you are. We're gonna stay a little soft today. So turn your hips to the side, and it's a little bit of an adventure coming up, turn around so that you're facing the wall, and then as you lay down, take your legs up. So if this is not enough of an angle for you, I'll show you what you can do. You can come a little closer, or you can slide back a little bit and make it less of an angle. So just to show you, for those of you who want at some point maybe a little bit more, you can just come a little bit closer to the wall. This is fantastic as you get the benefits of an inversion, meaning you get the blood draining out from your feet. It's fantastic for varicose veins. It's great if you've ever been on a plane and you've come off from a lot of travel. And it's really calming for the entire nervous system. And it opens up the low back. So you can lie in your Shavasana for this one with your hands on low belly, or your arms to the side. You can have a slight bend in your knees if you need to. And just allow your whole body to relax as you feel all the tension releasing from your legs and your spine. So I hope you enjoyed our practice together, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.